Excellency, Mr. Governor, we are privileged today. We are honored and privileged to have you with us, sir, please. A very good morning, dear esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, and our dear friends. We are honored and privileged to have us with us His Excellency, the Governor, and we would now pay our respect, our great nation, by singing the national anthem. I now request our dear friends from our university to please take the... We will have the national anthem. Please join us, everyone, and then we will be followed by the Tamil Thai Vartu. Thank you.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்த கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் வதனமென திகழ்பரத கண்டமிது தெக்கனமும் அதிர்ச்சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறை நுதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிலமை திறம்பியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்ந்ததுமே வாழ்ந்ததுமே வாழ்ந்ததுமே.
Thank you, everyone. Now we have the diya lighting. We now invite our esteemed guest to the stage for the lighting of the traditional diya. It symbolizes the dispelling of darkness and arrival of wisdom and knowledge. Thank you. Let us now begin the day by the welcome speech by Mr. Hania, the President of SADINER. We'd like to invite the President, Mr. Hania, to deliver the welcome speech and set the tone for today's gathering. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Hania.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of SADINER, Student Association for the Development of India's Northeast region, it is my utmost honor to extend a warm welcome to our esteemed dignitaries. His Excellency, our Governor of Tamil Nadu, Mr. R.N. Ravi sir, Director of CSRL, Mr. N.K. Barali sir, Director of IIT Madras, Mr. Professor Kamakoti sir, President of Northeast Welfare Association Chennai, Mr. Wapang Tosi, and our Professor in IIT Madras, Krishna Malaka ma'am. And to all the distinguished guests, policymakers, industry leaders, academicians, students, and change makers who have gathered here today for the Northeast Development Summit 2025. It is a privilege to host this grand event at IIT Madras, an institution that stands as a beacon of academic excellence, innovation, and progress. Today, we come together with a shared vision, a future where Northeast India flourishes with peace, world-class infrastructure, high-quality education, and improved standard of living. This summit marks a significant step forward to achieve that vision. Northeast India is home to over 220 tribes, making it one of the most culturally diverse regions in the world. Its unique heritage, breathtaking landscapes, and rich tradition are assets that deserve recognition and development. Moreover, with the highest number of international borders among any region in India, the Northeast holds strategic importance not just for the country, but also for global trade and connectivity. This summit serves as a platform to bring together policymakers, academicians, industry leaders, and students, all key stakeholders who can drive meaningful change. Through discussion, network, and collaborative efforts, we aim to foster sustainable growth, economic progress, and social development in the region. As we embark on this journey today, I encourage all of you to engage, share insights, and build connection that will contribute to a brighter future of the Northeast India. Let us make this summit a milestone in our collective pursuit of progress. Once again, a heartfelt welcome to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hanya, for the inspiring words. Now we have the felicitation of the speakers. We have our students from the Institute to felicitate our dear esteemed guest. May I request everybody to just... Yes, thank you very much. Next, we have the Northeast Traditional Attire Showcase. Let us take a moment to celebrate the rich culture and heritage of Northeast India. We will be witnessing a traditional attire showcase that reflects the vibrant and the diverse traditions that we would be witnessing today. May I request? So we will begin with the state of Meghalaya. We have the Khasi tribe showcasing the attire. Then we have next the state of Arunachal Pradesh. Please take forward. They are the Lepcha community showcasing their attire. is indeed a sight to see. Thank you, thank you. Then we have next the state of Mizoram. Showcasing the traditional attire, thank you. Then we have next the state of Manipur. We have the Tangkhul community wearing the traditional attire. We welcome. Thank you, thank you. Next we have the state of Assam. Please. We're indeed privileged to have us with the different communities. Fortunately, all the 8 states of the Northeast. This is the state of Assam representing. Next, we have the state of Sikkim. Thank you, thank you. We have next the state of Tripura. Representing us, unfortunately we weren't able to get hold of so we are presenting the male communities of the state. Thank you very much. Then we have the state of Nagaland representing. Indeed, it is a great privilege for us to witness the different attires today, the 8 states. Thank you. Thank you once again. Thank you everyone for the wonderful cultural display. I'm very grateful for the, next we are honored to welcome the Professor Kamakoti, Director of IIT Madras, to give us the speech. Thank you.
Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, all the dignitaries on stage, and friends from Northeast, my dear students from Northeast. It's a great pleasure for us to host this Northeast Development Summit. We are very happy that the number of students from Northeast has been increasing very fast, more than linear, it's quadratic. And I'm sure within the next few years, we will have more representation from more parts of the Northeast. We have just invited the students from the BTech program here, BTech and MTech program, but if we include the BS and data science online course, I'm sure we will have much more representation and much more female representation. So friends, I'm very happy to inform you that 2 of our illustrious professors or directors of institutes in Northeast India, Professor Sundar from mathematics is the director of NIT Mizoram, and Professor Devendra Jalihal of electrical engineering is now the director of IIT Guwahati. So this is our small contribution from IIT Madras back to Northeast. What is so amazing about Northeast India, as mentioned earlier, is the great diversity that you bring in, and also the culture that we see that we don't witness in South India, the different, everything, right from the dressing to the food and all the culture. These are very diverse, and it's a very important diversity of our country where we see the unity in diversity. I think it's a very, very important point for institutes like IITs, premier institutes, to have this diverse population on campus and bring in that rich diversity into the campus. Friends, I'm also very happy to note that we are slowly increasing, we have this fine arts and culture excellence admission, and we would like to see, and sports excellence admission. We are one of the first IITs to do, and we would like to see more sports persons and people with cultural background to come into IITs from the Northeast, bringing that rich culture and the rich sportsmanship from that part of India to South India. This is indeed the vision of Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat, this is where we are looking at the commonalities that we all enjoy as Indians. Friends, IIT Madras is now a very open forum. We have multiple interdisciplinary engineering courses. We have a lot of culture-oriented courses, and we would also like to see more of Northeast-oriented courses, bringing in that culture and educating our South Indians. We will also see more of that. With the increasing number of faculty who are joining from Northeast, I am sure within the next few years, we will have many more courses that will be representative of the great culture of Northeast India. I am also very, very happy to note that our governor has played a very important role in Northeast India, and we are extremely proud that he has come here today to be part of this function. I also take this opportunity that this summit must happen every year, and the participation must grow. So I also extend an invitation to the authorities that we as an institute can do sitting in South India. So thank you very much for being here, and wishing you all a very wonderful, pleasant stay at IIT Madras campus. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom and inclusivity. We indeed feel welcome here. Thank you. Then we have next the speech by His Excellency, the Governor of Tamil Nadu, Sri Ravindra Narayan Ravi. Please join me in welcoming, sir, for your vision for the Northeast India. Would you please allow us to have you here? We're honored to have you. Thank you.
Professor V. Kamakoti, Director of this institute, playing host. Thiru Nirpain Barali, who is the Director, Center for Social Responsibility and Leadership. Dr. Krishna Malakar, Thiru Wapang Toshi, my dear young friends from Northeast, and other esteemed invitees. I must say, I am quite delighted to be at this event. I would like to thank the organizers, the Student Association for Development of India's Northeast region, for taking the initiative to bring about transformative changes in the Northeast region. Because I do believe that the transformation can be brought about only by the youth. And I would also like to add that it is the time today. Today is the time when we can bring about the transformation. Transformation is happening. It's not that it's not happening. A lot of evolutionary transformations are happening in the region. Ever since 2014, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi came on the scene, there has been a fundamental shift. You see the number, the way, the speed at which the highways have been. The way the national highways, the state highways have been extended, the entire network, beautiful. You drive at over 100 kilometer speed. Yes, there are pockets where still it is to be covered, but extensive. Number of airports have multiplied, almost doubled. 8 new airports have come up in the last 10 years. 8 new airports. I remember in 2012, while I was in service, one of my officers from Andhra Pradesh, Vijayawada, he was serving in one of the region in the Northeast. His son met with an accident and he could reach home only the third day to see the dead body. Today, It is not so. We fly to Guwahati every day, we have flight. Go fly to Imphal, fly to all the places. So the connectivity has gone, phenomenally improved. Digital infrastructure, it has reached extensively. I remember in 2008, when a chief minister of the largest state of the region came to Mumbai to invite the investors. With a lot of effort, he could organize some people to come for the meeting in Mumbai. And when the investor said, yes, Mr. Chief Minister, it is okay, but when we come to Guwahati, where do we stay? There was no decent hotel to stay just 10 years back. Today you have 5-star hotels all around. Look at the number of bridges which have come over Brahmaputra. All these transformations have been happening at a speed and a scale that we need to grasp the significance of it. When I say that today is the time, because the fundamental shift that happened after Prime Minister Modi came was fundamental shift in the way we looked at the region. You know, for very long time, the Northeast region has been looked at a way that has created so much of problem for the people of the region. The region has been traumatized for almost over 250 years. I heard the president of the association organizing this, that there are 220 tribal groups, community in the Northeast region. Maybe I don't know what is his age, maybe I've been in the area for over 30 years. From where did we get this 220? It is written in a book somewhere, somebody has said 220, it goes on. If I said 2000, even then that is valid. Because if you start looking at communities by distinct markers, then every tribe which you call it has got multiple sub-tribes and they have their own uniqueness. For example, let us say one Konyak tribe. When I say Konyak Naga tribe in the eastern towards the Burma border, I was under the impression initially the Konyak would be one homogeneous. When I got closer to them, they had 29 and they're all different. So when you say 220, it doesn't make a sense. It only carries on a narrative. We saw the attire display, beautiful attire. But I know the friends from the Northeast should know that it is not even 1% of variations that we have in the region. Not even 1%. There is so much of diversity, so much of richness. But the region has been hugely traumatized for over 250 years. Right from 1765. It is important to know the background because the ecosystem that has been created, and that ecosystem is so deeply entrenched, it has created its own vested interest. Vested interest in politics, political parties, vested interest in business communities, vested interest in academia. There have been hundreds and hundreds of countless number of PhDs sustaining those very narratives which were created by the people, those who traumatized the region. Before the British came and took over Bengal in 1765, after the Battle of Plassey, when finally they consolidated 10 years later in 1765, they completely disconnected the whole region with the rest of the country. Up until then, people of the region were moving about. We know that you have a large number of people in the region, those whose origins can be traced, and it is not difficult, from the rest of the country. Not a small number, huge number. People have been moving for thousands and thousands of years. People from the hills and the plains, they have been living like a family. In fact, today, when you say this to some people, it looks like a stranger, as if, wow, what is that you're talking? It's not long back. When 1765, when they disconnected the region with the rest of the country and they took over Bengal, for them, Bengal was their country, it became. And the Northeast was a foreign country for them. Gradually, they started moving towards the Northeast. We don't go into the detailed history, but the fact is that they started moving eastward. They started capturing territory. And when they found possibility of tea in Assam, what they did, they acquired almost 6 lakhs hectares of land on the foothills of Assam. With whether what we call it Arunachal today, what we call it Nagaland today or Meghalaya, all the foothills, because those areas were rich most suitable for tea cultivation. They were here to exploit. And they found initially when they captured the area, they wanted to keep the Burmese away, because Burmese were also an imperial power at that point of time. But when they found tea, and tea was one of the most precious resources at the time, the tea stock, China was the dominant market. And when the company, East India Company, later British, when they realized that they can have tea here in Assam, then they captured this area, about 6 lakhs hectares. And having captured the area, they created inner line permit system, 1873, that people of the hill, because people of the hill and the plain, they used to meet, interact, intermingle. The system was called Mangai. It is all documented by researchers from the Northeast. It's not that I'm saying. Mangai was the system by which every person in the hill, those used to come, economy was not monetized, it was barter. They used to bring things, give it, and pick up things what they needed. And when they used to come for the weekly hart, whatever is unsold, they leave it with a family in the plains. And with that family, they had generational relations. They had matrimonial relations. But once they captured this area, 6 lakhs, entire foothills, and they said, no, this area is banned. You can't enter, this is for tea. The people they felt uncomfortable. They started protesting it, resisting it. The violence began. And then they put this inner line in 1873 that nobody from the plain should go to the hills. They disconnected the entire region from the rest of the country. Subsequently, by putting the inner line, they disconnected the hills with the plains, and the neighbors became strangers. And then they started telling them stories, all kinds of stories. Essentially, it was for exploitation. And then, when they realized the further potential for further exploitation, the plains of Assam, which was very sparsely populated but very, very rich, fertile land, entire Brahmaputra Valley, very fertile land, but very sparse population. If you go by the first census of Assam, and when we say Assam at the time, most of the hills were also part of it. A population in 1829 was hardly 9 lakhs, not even 1 million. But at the beginning of the 20th century, while they had, when they captured this area, all the foothills, they wanted labor. And then they brought nearly 500,000 slaves, like slaves they took from the central India, what we call the tea garden people. They were taken from present-day Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh area. There was slave trade. It is all documented. How the people were induced, kidnapped, and taken. There used to be slave market, And the buyers from the tea garden owners, they would come and fix the price. They were stripped naked, and they used to see the teeth, whether the person is healthy or not, whether the age is a productive age or not, what will be the productivity of the person. Then they used to fix the price, 5 rupees, 6 rupees, 7 rupees. That is how they used. But they brought about 500,000 people as a worker. That was a huge influx of people from outside. But they remained confined largely to the tea garden areas. But later on, in the beginning of the 20th century, when they found the plains of Assam so fertile, then they started bringing people from East Bengal. And between 1910 and 1940, almost 30% of Assam population, almost what it was brought. Millions of people were brought as to come occupy the land, cultivate, and you give us the revenue. And that is how it's an illegal immigration, what we call later now, after independence. This was the beginning. So Assam was, not only Assam, even what we call Meghalaya also, a lot of came in the coal mines and all. Large influx from people from outside. It created a lot of imbalance, social imbalance, a lot of problems. And after the British left, unfortunately, government after independence continued looking at the region. They carried the legacy of the British. They continued looking at the region as the British looked, as if they were other country. They were not a part of us. There were numerous correspondence between then Prime Minister and the Chief Minister of Assam, showing that, look, people are different. We must try to win their hearts. No, the fact that you started looking at them differently, whereas before the British came, there was so much of mixing and mingling with the rest of the country. We know our friends from Assam will bear with now. That in 15th century when Mahapurush Shankardev, at the age of 30, he traveled from Kamrup to Rameswaram, then to Kanchipuram, then to Kashi, and then he went back. And his first composition was Dhanya Dhanya Bharat Bhumi. That was his first composition. Numerous stories. I tell you, I don't know whether we have any these people from Idu Mismi tribe. Idu Mismis of Arunachal. One night I was halting at the house, at the village chief. And I found that Idu Mismis, they have a tradition of keeping the tuft, chutia. And when I asked, what is this? And then he explained me. The story that he told was that it is our tradition. Because Rukmini, wife of Sri Krishna, was our daughter. And he narrated the whole story, which led to this tuft. Now, when did this story reach the people of Idu Mismi tribe? Similar stories are all around. But the British told us they are different. They kept objectifying the people, marking them by giving them broad levels. And the areas which was not productive for them, especially the hill region, because there was no tea there. Tea they had only in the plains. So they called it unadministered. They created the myth. For them it was unadministered. But independent India continued looking at the region from that very perspective. It was documented. And who was the person who framed the policy, the tribal policy of the Northeast, which is the Government of India policy? Again, a British. After independence, very irrelevant. He said, don't touch them. They are innocent savages of Rusho. Not let them live according to their own way. Before that, when the national freedom movement started, And devolution of power to the local people began. In 1919 was the beginning, first reform that happened, they called it reform. They kept the entire hill region out, saying that no, they should not be touched. You know, before the British came, we didn't have police station, we didn't have block, we didn't have district, all taluks, these are all creation of the British. People had their way of governance. But when that way of governance began in the rest of the country, the British kept the region away. When 1929, when the Simon Commission came and when they started talking about what more devolution can be done to the local, and which was subsequently translated into Government of India Act 1935, again they kept that region completely off. And who drafted? I tell my Naga friends, when the Naga Club gave the memorandum to the British, then the Simon, to keep the region away, who drafted that memorandum? It was drafted by Hutton, who was the district collector of Naga Hill district. It was their design that even if India becomes independence, keep the hill region of India and Burma as a crown colony. Today they say that Naga Club gave this memorandum. Where was Naga Club after 1918? After the First World War, when those people who had been taken as a labor corps, when they returned, they had formed there in Paris. After that it was dead, defunct. But Hutton, the British deputy collector, he maliciously, to fulfill the design of separating the region, he revived that on paper and made some people sign and drafted the memorandum and gave it. These are all documents. It's not something which is hidden. So that continued even post-British. The problem that the people of the region faced was largely from illegal immigration from East Pakistan and subsequently Bangladesh. When the Assam revolted. They wanted relief. What then the ruling government did? They adopted a politics of Ali and Coolie, pure and simple power politics. Divide and rule. Ali, they called them migrants from Bengal, that is Bangladesh, and Coolie, they call them tea garden workers. You keep them with you and you will always be in power. And to satisfy, and when the people of native people, when they revolted against the illegal migration from Bangladesh, what the government did, central government as well as the state government put together, they came up with an act, IMDT Act, Illegal Migrant Determination Tribunal Act, which made it difficult for people to point out, suppose if I know that here is an illegal sort of immigrant, if I go and complain it, I have to deposit money. Only then their complaint will be registered. I will be fined if it is not proved. And subsequently it led to Assam Accord. And what happened happened thereafter? In Assam Accord itself was such a ill-crafted document that all the subsequent problems started. That led to first Bodo insurgency. They said, no, if this is what Assam Accord is, you are not addressing the problem of illegal migrants. Because Bodos were one who were victims of it, largely the most victims of it. So Bodo insurgency began. And in 90s, when the election came, then the ruling government of the state, they created half a dozen community-based development council. Rawa Council, Tiwa Council, Missing Council, all the councils they created. Now, it was Northeast region was a melting pot like any other part of the country. People were mingling. But when in a particular area, when you create a community-based, only for one community a development council, rest of the people, they feel like a second-class citizen. And that created a cycle of revolt. Assam is a state with a distinction of having almost 24 ethnic community-based councils. They kept dividing. And I was surprised in 2006, near Jorhat, there is a small community, Tengal Kachari. They were not even aware of. They didn't ask for it. But then Chief Minister, who was contesting from that constituency, he was very insecure of anti-incumbency. He created a council for Bengal Kachari. I am giving you a council. You have it. Creating new identities that divided, vivisected the region. And whole lot of all the experts, people from the academia, NGOs and all funded from the within and from outside, they started fueling that narrative that people are different. Diversity, my friends, is a character of our country. Diversity is not necessarily difference. You look at any tree, it has millions of leaves. No two leaves are alike. Look at a flower. It has hundreds of petals. No two petals are exactly alike. Human body, if I look at my finger and only find out the differences, uniqueness of my finger will look as if it is not part of my body. Is it the way to look at it? We continued looking at it, and the reason went into the vortex of fire, violence. And so much so that 2008, during the UPA government, second Administrative Reform Commission was constituted. And the second Administrative Reform Commission, in its report mentions violence is inherent in the Northeast region. I would like to ask those friends, those who drafted it, and those who government accepted the report, that where were these people before 1947? They lived happily with each other. There was no fight. There is no record of fight between the ethnic communities, one community fighting the other. There was no homeland concept, this is my home, this is your home. Whole entire society was based on the village. Each village has its own identity, its own administration. But the violence that began, largely sown by the policies of government, which was the follow-up of the British policy, divide and rule, it practically put the region into fire. Until 2013-14, almost 1,000 people used to die in this region. 1,000. Many of my young friends, those who are in the early 20s, they may not recall because 10 years, 12 years is a long period. 1,000 people used to die every year because they first create the government would create the problem first and then try to find a solution. In the process, they will create more problem. And they kept ruling, they kept dividing the people. There was a sense all over. The Northeast is a dangerous area. Don't go to Northeast. Investors started running. They didn't even look at it. We kept romanticizing the region. That region is so beautiful. But we kept punishing the region also. We created a Northeast industrial policy during those days, but didn't create the enabling environment. Investors didn't come because they didn't feel safe. Young people started migrating from the villages and coming, doing menial jobs. In somewhere garage, somewhere security person, somewhere something. There are villages, my friends, villages I have visited, where they have stopped having they had stopped, not now, things are better now, much better. They had stopped having the village festivals because entire youth population of the village had left for livelihood somewhere else in the rest of the country. They had devastated the region. But what happened in 2014? 2014, when Prime Minister Modi came, they said, no. You are us. There is no question of treating you as if you are different. You are not different. You are us. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. All-inclusive development. Not based on caste, not based on ethnicity, not based on religion. And then, the homeland demand politics, it became irrelevant. Insurgent organizations, those who had started running their business, and there was an alphabet, alphabet soup of alphabet. You start from A to Z, you will have by every name there, every letter you have a militant organization there. They have all disappeared by and large. Some of them are going to die natural death shortly. It has all become irrelevant today. Today there is no question of any discussion on homeland or any discussion of separatism or separation. We are all inclusive in Bharat. India is one. We are all members of one family. And this firm policy, it has brought down from 1,000 people used to die every year. Now it has come to double digit, that to the lower end. You hardly. Today, Northeast is a story of happiness, prosperity. Today, if you go and visit, and I urge my friends to visit, those who are not from Northeast, you go and visit and see how things are. See the position of electricity, see the position of communication, see the institutions coming up. Now today we are having a semiconductor industry coming in Assam, in the region. All this transformation has happened in the last 10 years. And it has created so much opportunities. So much opportunities that Northeast can be a model for the rest of the country. For a very long time, we kept looking at a strategic concern. You have China, you have Pakistan or Bangladesh. As a result, the people were not the center of attention. Either the military or the militants, or the politics of dividing the people into the communities. Today we don't talk about a strategic concern that you said about, we have about 5 countries, I don't know, I've even forgotten which all countries are there. It is irrelevant today. We are people-centric. Governance is people-centric. Look at the reason from the perspective of the people. That is why one of the first things that Prime Minister Modi did, he said every minister must visit the region and spend at least whole one night once a week. Ministers have started visiting. They started monitoring. Development has started happening. It took some time initially, but it is visible now. You see all around. You may have some incident here and there, very minor. But generally, the story of Northeast is a story of happiness and progress. A new Northeast is emerging. A Northeast which can be an engine of growth for this country. This region has the finest of human resources, finest of human resources. And I say with total conviction. Human resources not only in terms of sports, which of course they are, not only in terms of art and music, but in terms of creativity. Today, Northeast is dominating India's hospitality sector. We know it. This airline sector, if you see, you travel in an airline and you see there is a fair chance that you have a large number of people, stewards are from Northeast. Besides that, there is a lot of talent, a lot of creativity. So human resources are the finest. Natural resources are enormous, enormous. Situation is conducive because there is no talk of violence, secessionism, there is no talk of homeland. There is peace that is prevailing. Investors are coming. Infrastructures have come up, are further coming up. It is the time to seize this opportunity and build it. And it will be built by people, young people from the region. Don't expect others to come and do it. You do it. You take control. Today the capital is available. Today you have intellectual and natural resources. You have capital. You know the know-how. You can build it. You have connectivity. You have the market access. You can create it. In our state, Tamil Nadu, 2 months back I did a study. We have 1 crore 50 lakhs people, more than 1 crore 50 lakhs who have taken Mudra loan. You know Mudra loan, what it is, collateral free 10 lakhs rupees. Now it has gone to 20 lakhs rupees. You can take that money without collateral, without security. We have 1 crore 50 lakhs people in our state, Tamil Nadu, who have availed themselves of this loan. And nearly half of them are women. And I have visited the rural areas, I have seen what wonders they are doing. Women, village women, how taking this collateral free loan, the money, they have started a small micro business. And not only they are sustaining themselves, their families, but not only that, they have got dignity to them because they are earning money. They are also giving employment to people. This is a new story. Now this is available there also. And then I would urge our young friends to be an entrepreneur, go and start working there. You complete your study and go. If you keep listening to others, the old story, because the stereotype which has been created over such a long time, that ecosystem and stereotype is not yet dead. They are very much alive. They will continue perpetuating the story, telling you the story of sadness, depression, despair, because that's the vested interest. That is how they have earned their livelihood. There is a whole business of talking about Northeast and making your life good, personal life. You make the change. You are the one who can transform the region. If you have traveled from Northeast to Chennai, now I don't think I would say it is a long distance. There was a time when we used to call it a long distance. It is no longer the case. I think it is incumbent upon you that your takeaway should be that yes, after I complete my study, get my degree, diploma, whatever it is, I will go back and start a business there. Be an entrepreneur. Every field, you name a field. It's not only horticulture and agriculture. A lot of, even the modern technology-based industries, you can create that. Do that. And that is what. In the last 10 years, the region has become peaceful. Region is now prospering. The story from despair to hope. We have moved into that. We have to now leapfrog. Because we cannot afford to continue moving incrementally. We have suffered, we have lost a lot of time. Our country has lost a lot of time. The country today is moving at a much faster pace. Our economy is the fastest growing economy in the world. Our startup ecosystem is the fastest expanding startup ecosystem in the world. In every field, we are doing wonders. There is no reason why the Northeast can be left behind. It is not. It is moving forward. But I would like to move it forward at a faster pace. And this responsibility lies on young men and women from the region. It is you who have to take the courage. Yes, start it. And this is the time, my friend, this is the time. You become the builder of the region and builder of the nation. The nation has a resolve that in the next 2.5 decades, India has to be a fully developed nation. And this fully developed nation, in this, the engine of growth, the Northeast can be that. It is emerging. Give it a push. Go back. Start. Tell the good stories which are coming up from the region. For long, people have prospered on its sad stories, the bad stories. No, it is time for us to share the good story of the region. And every region, every part of the Northeast region has plenty of good story to share. Positive story. Do that. And that should be, I would urge, that should be the takeaway from the summit. I would once again thank the organizers for organizing, bringing the students, doing the brainstorming, sharing their thoughts and ideas. takeaway should be go back, translate some of these on the ground, do it. I wish this conference, this summit, all the very best. Friends, thank you very much. Jai.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Your words of invaluable insight, and we appreciate your 30 years of service to the nation. So as we are nearing to the end of the event, I call upon the General Secretary of SADINER, Mr. Thotan, to present his vote of thanks. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Thotan.
Your Excellency, the Governor, distinguished guests, esteemed speaker, respected academician, industry leaders, representatives of NGOs, students, and dear friends. As we come to the conclusion of this inaugural session of the Northeast Development Summit 2025, it is my privilege and honor to extend a vote of thanks on behalf of SADINER and the entire organizing committee. First and foremost, our deepest gratitude to His Excellency, the Governor of Tamil Nadu, for gracing this summit with his esteemed presence. Your inspiring words on steering the Northeast towards progress and prosperity has provided invaluable insight and motivation to all of us. We extend our sincere appreciation to the Tourism Department and Education Department of Arunachal Pradesh for their generous support in making this event a reality. Your encouragement and contribution will play a vital role in fostering discussion on sustainable development, education, and economic opportunities in this region. A heartfelt thanks to the Director of IIT Madras for presiding over the session and for sharing invaluable sights that resonate deeply with our vision. A special thanks to our eminent speaker, panelists, and moderator who will be enriching us with their knowledge and expertise. To our partners, sponsors, and collaborators, we are deeply grateful for your unwavering support. Your commitment to the development of this region is truly commendable, and we look forward to continued collaborations in the future. A hearty thanks to the student, youth leaders, and volunteers who have worked tirelessly behind the scene to ensure the smooth execution of this summit. Your dedication and hard work have been instrumental in making this event a grand success. To the media and press, we appreciate your efforts in amplifying our message and taking the event to a wider audience. Last but not the least, a sincere thanks to all of our attendees and participants for your presence. Thank you.
As we conclude the morning session, let us all rise again for the national anthem as a tribute to our great nation. Everyone.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Oh, I'll also join. We would like to begin our second session. I would like to invite Mr. N.K. Barali sir, Director All India CSRL, we would like to welcome sir to the stage. And we also have Mr. Wapang Toshi, the President of Northeast Welfare Association Chennai, on the stage. And we also have Professor Malakar, Krishna Malakar ma'am, to be on the stage, please. And we also have the office bearers from the Assam Association Chennai to felicitate our guest. Please take your seats. No, it's like a memento. It's like a token of appreciation. Thank you, sir. We are very privileged to have you, sir. We thank you for your presence.
Hello.
Yeah, please. Thank you. I also request, please just take a moment. We would request Hania, the president of SADINER, to felicitate the people from the Northeast, the Assam Association as well. I'm sorry. It's like please, it'll just take 2 minutes. Thank you. We appreciate your presence, sir. Thank you.
This is my token of appreciation for Mr. N.K. Barali, who came to the event just in one call, and I would love to hear from him in this event. He has been big things.
Thank you, sir. Take it.
And this is my token of appreciation for Dr. Felicitation ma'am, who will be giving a keynote speech here for the Northeast Development Summit. And this is the last one, but not the least one. So this is the token of appreciation for the President of Assam Association Chennai here, and Mr.
I mean, this is a very small community. We are very grateful for the presence. Thank you. We would like to have the welcome speech by Mr. Aloy who has been the founding member of the SADINER. So we'd like to welcome and set a tone for the event with his welcome speech. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Aloy. Thank you.
All right, a very warm, let me check. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen and others. It's indeed an honor to be here after almost a decade. And a lot of things to say, a lot of emotions. But before I begin, I'd like to thank the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais for having made their time out of the busy schedules to be here with us today. So I arrived at short notice. I was invited by the current president and his team to be part of these celebrations, and I have to just probably give you a brief idea, an introductory note on the genesis of this organization, how this organization began exactly 10 years ago. By the way, for those of you who are not aware, this is also the 10th anniversary of this organization. And this is but before that, I think I need to just tell you, you may be confused as to who I am and what I am doing here. So I am Oloy Buragohai. I am a graduate of this institute, and I was the founder and the first president of SADINER, exactly 10 years from now. And this is the email which I received on, I think, 18 February 2015. I just found a screenshot of this on my phone, just from my Gmail inbox, where the then deputy registrar formally recognized us as a students' body. And my memories go back to the then director, Dr. Bhaskar Ramamurthy, the then dean, Professor Sivakumar, and the then deputy registrar, Lieutenant Colonel Jay Kumar. So I want to begin by talking about what brought the people of Northeast, the students from Northeast, together under the same umbrella, and how it happened, so that you realize that what you see today transform into the Northeast Development Summit. You have to realize that there was a lot of toil, a lot of hard work that went behind the scenes to enable this, the realization of this Students Association. So it was in 2014 end that we initially started with an Assam association. A group of us, I think 8, 9 of us. At that time, there was, like you see Northeasterners seated today, there was no identity as such of people from Northeast. IIT, you had someone from Arunachal in some hostel, someone from Nagaland, somewhere else, few people from Assam sitting together in Gurunath. Gurunath was the main cafeteria area then, next to Himalaya lawns. Today, I think it doesn't exist. I've not been there. But we were seated there and we came up with this idea, to meet. And I'm a big follower of Bhupen Hazarika, Dr. Bhupen Hazarika. And I think his philosophy and his words have been a guiding light for us. There's this famous song, Akashi Ganga Bisara Nai Bisara Swarno Alankar Nishthur Jibanor Hongramot Bisaru Moromor Mat Ekhar. So it basically translates into, I don't seek the galaxies nor golden ornaments in life's ruthless struggle. All I seek is a word of love. And I think when students from 2,500 kilometers away in remote Northeast arrive in Chennai, I thought all of them wanted a word of love. To meet someone to greet every evening or meet somewhere in the cafeteria. So thought, why not bring together people from Assam? But very soon I realized that confining it to Assam alone would be a grave injustice to the spirit of, the greater Northeastern identity. And when Dr. Bhupen Hazarika also wrote his songs or wrote his lyrics, he never had just the Assamese in mind. If you look at his Mohabahu Brahmaputra, that is one of my favorites, where he says, Mohabahu Brahmaputra, Mohamilanor Tirtha, Kotojug Dhori Ahise Prakashi Hobonnoyor Ortho, which means, it's basically, a Tirth, the entire Brahmaputra is like a Tirth, is like a pilgrimage, which has seen over millennia the convergence of diverse streams of cultures and civilizations into its flow, into its eternal flow. And that was what guided me towards, and my immediate friends towards founding. And I remember all my fellow members, fellow students who are not here today, who helped me immensely at every step in transforming this dream into reality. So we came together in 2015, and our first event happened in the spring of 2015, where we organized the Spring Festival to coincide with Bihu and other folk spring festivals of different tribes. We had the director and many bureaucrats, also senior academicians and other people from the civil society of Chennai. And I mean, it was a grand success. And from then on, after that, the credit goes to the subsequent batches of students on having carried the legacy forward, on carrying the flame forward. And I think, I won't be wrong in admitting that I'm really emotional. I'm not someone who displays emotions at large. That is why maybe I'm not able to express the kind of happiness that I'm feeling at the moment, seeing that baby that we, brought into this world grow 10 years old. It's a big achievement. One of the things which I'll carry very close to my heart for the rest of my life. And I think it's maybe the greatest achievement I have achieved in my 30 years of existence on this planet. Anyway, so that was the story of 10 years ago. And since then, now we're looking at development. But one thing I want to drive home is the fact that we didn't call it just Northeast Association. Unlike all other, you will see a lot of regional groups, a lot of state or language-based groups on campus. We called it a Students' Association for the Development of India's Northeastern region. So the development idea was there from the very genesis, from the very first moment when we conceived this organization. And therefore, to see a Northeast Development Summit happen on the 10th anniversary is indeed, I think, really satisfying. And yes, I hope the coming generations will be able to carry this tradition. And as the director said, he would like to have a Northeast Development Summit every year. I think it's up to them to continue this and ensure that no matter what hurdles emerge, you carry this tradition forward. And I think that's the way to go about it. Now, I want to move to a more academic domain. That's my area. I was a development studies and economics student here. And I have conducted, last 7 years of my life, I have been doing research on development with focus on Northeast India and Southeast Asia. Also, I spent a couple of years in Germany working for a European Union project on technology transfer between Northeast India and different parts of the world. So anyways, I want to firstly talk about deprovincializing Northeast. At the moment we talk about Northeast, it's a paradox. We want to move beyond, like the governor said, we want to take it beyond just the geography. We want to see mingling, intermingling, migration and so on between mainland India and Northeast India. But unfortunately, by the utterance of the term Northeast itself, we end up provincializing it, right? And I have forever, for my entire life so far, I have been carrying this identity. When people see me, maybe from my facial structure or whatever, by the way I carry myself, the identity of being a Northeasterner kind of sticks to you. It's very difficult for it to evaporate. Therefore, the first challenge which you must surmount, my young friends here, is to try to go beyond this provincial identity. I don't think Northeast is just unique because of its diversity or because it's close to China and Bhutan and Tibet and Myanmar and Nepal. I don't think so, or Bangladesh. A student or any youth or any person from Northeast India is as talented as anyone else from any part of the world. And we should make sure that we are never given this identity-oriented tag of being just a Northeasterner. We are much more than that, right? In fact, let's not forget that the first tricolor of India was unfurled by the Indian National Army in Imphal. So that way, Northeast was the first free province of India. And we should never consider ourselves as derivatives or second-class identity carriers of the Indian identity. We are as Indian, and why only Indian? We are as global as any other community in the world. Secondly, my research over the last 2 years, I've been looking at Northeast India as a peri-coastal province. Like you have peri-urban areas, areas which are not really urban, but just on the fringe, on the margins of the urban. What we often forget is that Northeast India is very close to the coast of Bay of Bengal. It's less than 100. Mizoram and Tripura, the southern parts of Mizoram and Tripura, barely 100 kilometers, less than 100 kilometers away from the Bay of Bengal. So the distance between, let's say, Trichy or Madurai from the coast is same as the distance between Tripura and Mizoram. It's just that because of the legacy of partition and because there exists Bangladesh and Myanmar, which prevent free access of Northeast to the sea, there has been a historical roadblock in terms of economic connectivity. And that is being fulfilled, that is being negotiated today through other ports, the projects which connect Northeast with the Bay of Bengal and so on, through Chittagong port and so on. And with an unstable Bangladesh, what we've seen recently, with the change of regime, that is seriously threatened. And we must also remember that China, one of the main factors which drives China's ambitions into Northeast is not just, it doesn't end with Arunachal Pradesh or southern Tibet. It goes right way to the Bay of Bengal because they are a landlocked country. The southern part of China is landlocked. And therefore, political interest in Myanmar, in Bangladesh, in Northeast, down to the Bay of Bengal is of utmost importance to the Chinese Communist Party. So we have to contextualize the politics and the geopolitics of the region in the geological and geographical realities of this place. And this goes actually back thousands of years. I have come from the Ahom community, and the Ahoms actually migrated. It's a misconception that the Ahoms migrated from Thailand. Actually, they migrated from China, the southern part of China in Yunnan. So, it's a very interesting story. The Thai Ahom community, or originally there was no Ahom, it was just Thai people. They lived in this Mon Mao area of Yunnan, Myanmar border in southern China. And for thousands of years, they had a rivalry with the Han Chinese. The Han Chinese are the ones who are ruling China today. All Xi Jinping, every Chinese minister you see, every Chinese major businessman, sportsman is most probably from the Han Chinese ethnicity. But the Thai Chinese were another group who were equally civilizationally advanced, but somewhere psychologically they were very different. And also genetically and ethnically they were very different from the Han Chinese. So they had thousands of years of conflict, but finally the Han Chinese were successful in pushing the Thais southwards. So the Thais were forced to migrate in different directions. Some went to Thailand, some went to Laos, some to Vietnam, Myanmar. And the ones who came into Northeast India, they became known by different names. The first who came were the Thai Ahoms, led by Sukafa, Chowlung Sukafa. So the language that is spoken in Thailand and the Thais is the same. The Thai and Thai are mutually intelligible. So therefore, that remains. In fact, within later lot of other groups like the Chiang Mais, the Chiang Mais came from Chiang Mai in Thailand. So the Ahom kings wanted cooks who could cook food which is similar to the food they had in Yunnan. So they invited this Chiang Mai who came and cooked authentic Thai food. But this legacy continues. So the Thai Ahoms, Thai Khamtis, Thai Aitons, and so on, they belong to that Thai group. And therefore, the strategic location of Northeast is of utmost importance to China. Whereas India is trying to establish inroads into ASEAN or Southeast Asia through Northeast India. So I think it is our responsibility to ensure that Northeast India is not just confined to the South Asian identity, but is also actively assuming the Southeast Asian identity. And that will be very helpful for India, because that way India can have a leverage over China in ASEAN and the Southeast Asian politics. And because Indo-Pacific today is emerging as a great geopolitical theater, with United States officially acknowledging it as Indo-Pacific, and the Quad and everything. I don't want to go into the details because of the shortage of time. I'll take 30 seconds more. But right now, Northeast, it is at the crossroads. And this development summit is happening at a crucial juncture. Therefore, you should not lose this opportunity at any cost and ensure that Northeast regains its status at the center of world politics, which it did prior to 1947, when Dibrugarh and Chittagong had one of the first railway connections in eastern India, after Thane, Mumbai Thane. That time Chittagong was called Chattogram, right? So that centrality of Northeastern Asian politics should be regained, and it is upon SADINER, the Students' Association for Development of India's Northeastern region, to ensure the realization of the dream. With this, I once again congratulate SADINER on having carried the legacy forward for 10 years, and I wish the delegates, the dignitaries on and off the dais, a very good discussion and fruitful dialogue in the hours to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your emotional and we are forever grateful for the beginning of the SADINER and the journey that we have had so far. Thank you once again. Next, we have Sir Barali, Director, All India, CSRL. We would like to invite you here to share your valuable insights, what have been achieved so far, the initiatives, and your future plans. Please join me in welcoming Sir Barali. Thank you.
Mr. Toshi, and all present in the audience today. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm thankful to Mr. Hania and his friends for inviting me to share my thoughts with you all today. I think the email or the screenshot of the email, I think your name is Aloy showed. I may take a little bit of credit for that email actually, because at that time Bhaskar Ramamurthy was my board colleague in Oil India, and he did ask me about this, that what does this do and all that, okay. I didn't know you all at that time, but then after a board meeting we were just having a cup of tea, and then he asked that, okay, I said, these type of things are there in all places, so this could definitely be a very positive outcome if you can allow this. I think by that time process was already on, but he did talk to me once about this. It's in fact a very beautiful sort of environment that you all have created, and it was very pleasant to see all our young friends in their ethnic attires marching through in the morning. And we are also enriched quite a lot by the speech by the chief guest, the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu. And I go, enriched in my knowledge about a lot of things that I did not know about Northeast, which he knew and he told us. Okay. This summit is about Northeast India. Okay, I don't have to repeat. It's a land where the first rays of sunlight actually comes to our country. A land blessed with breathtaking beauty. You all are beautiful. You are part of Northeast. That's why you are more beautiful, I think. Okay. And it has immense potential. But Northeast also has limited opportunities that we realize. There are many reasons, some political, some natural, and some may be man-made. But this is a reason, this is an area which is habited by people known for their extreme resilience. Yet, as we stand here today at the Northeast Development Summit 2025, we all realize that potential alone is not enough. The true challenge lies in ensuring that this potential is gainfully exploited, that talent finds its rightful path, and that progress reaches every nook and corner of this beautiful area or beautiful region. I'm very, very honored to having been invited to speak to you about some of the work that we have been doing for development of the youth of the Northeast India and share some of my thoughts, my organization's thoughts about how perhaps we could collaborate even better, different agencies could collaborate even better, the youths could take this movement forward so that there is an overall development of the whole region. On behalf of my organization, CSRL, I used to work for Oil India. This is actually wrongly written. I'm an ex-director of Oil India, and now I am director of Center for Social Responsibility and Leadership. In fact, my designation there is Director General, that is the CEO's position. On behalf of CSRL, I would like to congratulate SADINER as well as IIT Madras for taking the initiative of creating this forum for exchange of views, for exchange of ideas, focused on development of this relatively less developed region. Sustainable growth and progress for any underdeveloped region, which is abundantly blessed with natural resources and human capital, are primarily driven by three key factors. One, education, the foundation of empowerment. Second, financial resources to sustain development initiatives. And last but not the least is collaboration, the collaborative force of different agencies to push the agenda through. Since I stand here today in my capacity as the head of a not-for-profit, fully engaged in transforming lives of the underprivileged students across the nation with significant focus in the Northeast, through education, I'd like to dwell more on the first of these three critical issues, education for empowerment. Before moving ahead, I'd like to introduce what CSRL is. Okay. Center for Social Responsibility and Leadership is a not-for-profit organization established in the year 2008. The organization was founded by a social activist, late Mr. S.K. Shahi, and he had the firm belief that education could be the bridge between dreams and reality, between despair and hope. We work with students at their very difficult age when they just enter into adulthood. They're filled with uncertainties about their future. That is the age, 17, 18 years. You just become adults, you are unsure what the future holds for you. And you also have to take a decision at that point of time. What would you do in your future? All our beneficiaries come from families which are financially challenged section of the society. They are families from the financially section of the society. Students with abundant potential but with limited resources to exploit that. In our flagship program, Super 30, we work with students who have completed their senior secondary examination stage, class 12 examination, and work with them for 11 complete months in a fully residential setup. Our focus is on preparing them for competing successfully in competitive examinations for premier educational institutions like IITs, NITs, government medical colleges, and all that. But our main objective is to turn them out as excellent human beings. Getting a seat in IIT, NIT, or a medical college is only a byproduct. Once you come out of one of our centers, I can guarantee you, you will have a lot of values, you'll learn a lot of values which are extremely important for you, whether you are an engineer, a doctor, or in any other profession as a citizen. You inculcate those habits, those values while you are with us, those 11 months. Our focus lies very much on those factors. As of now, we have 33 centers, Super 30 centers, spread all across the country, starting from Kashmir in the north, Chennai to the south, Pune to the west, and Itanagar to the easternmost part. If you look at the education scenario, there are many experts here. I know that Toshi is doing research on that. Aloy spoke quite a lot about the education part. You'll see that as far as primary or elementary education is concerned, we compare reasonably well with remaining part of the country. The problem lies at the secondary and the senior secondary level education. As far as the primary level education is concerned, I think Mizoram, a state in the northeast, is almost at the top, basic education in the whole country. I mean, they are within the first 3 to 5 positions. But as we go higher up, because of different situations, because of issues related with remoteness, because of lack of infrastructure. I saw a movie being shown about Arunachal Pradesh today. They are showing 2 pictures, one with dilapidated houses, housing schools, and then some beautiful buildings they were showing, telling that transformation is taking place, that is being done. But the general reality is infrastructure is still inadequate in the northeast as far as the education institutions are concerned. And also there's another very important thing is lack of quality teaching staff. Many of the people who get educated, who are good, who can go back and give it back to the society because of reasons, whatever reasons, and very pertinent reasons perhaps. Do not go back at that point of time. So we are dependent on people, and because of the remoteness, other people who are interested from other parts of the country find it very reluctant to go and work in the Northeast. Unless the general must get quality education at primary and secondary levels, it becomes a Herculean task for them to compete for limited opportunities for relevant higher education. This may be a good moment to tell you the story of what we in CSRL are doing for improving the standard of education and getting more and more people out of the Northeast into premier institutions in the country. As I told you before, we have 33 centers, out of which 11 are located in the Northeast. We have one in Arunachal Pradesh, one in Tripura, and remaining 9 in Assam. Okay? And among all these centers, the center which has been doing extremely well for us, I'll come to it again, is a center located at Itanagar. The results have been extremely good. Okay. But then, we also have the maximum problem in running that center, because quality faculty would not like to go there because of the remoteness, because of lack of communication. If there is an emergency, someone is going from, say, Chennai, a good teacher I find in Chennai, generally we deal with IIT and IT graduates as faculty members. For him to come back from there would take 2 days. What the Honorable Governor said today, that times have decreased. He gave the example of one of his friends in Dhemaji, and it took, I think, 3 days to reach Chennai or some place. But the situation is not too different even now. You'll still need about 2 days to reach Chennai, I think, coming from Itanagar, if there is an emergency. Okay. The Northeast is home to some of the most talented, creative, and hardworking youth. And that is why it's a pleasure to work with the students in that area. They are very smart by nature. They are very positive by nature, and their aspirations are limited. That is why it is always easy to mold them the way you would like them to be molded. Education is not just about literacy. It's about empowerment, about giving young minds the wings to rise above their limitations and to dream fearlessly. This is what we try to do. We try to transform these youths to become fearless in life and never to limit their dreams. However, difficulties associated with remoteness, accessibility, and lack of awareness pose barriers for us. The challenge that we have is to ignite the minds of this young population with a resolve to overcome the challenges and move ahead. But there is one thing that we have really realized and learned at CSR that given the right opportunities, the youth of the Northeast region can achieve extraordinary heights. 15 years ago, we started our first center in Guwahati with the support of Oil India Limited. We were clueless. We were uncertain about the things, how the things should unfold. The road was very, very challenging. The level of awareness about higher education, about youth from that region going to IITs and all, was very minimal. Believe you me, in the year 2008, 2009, 2010, hardly 8 to 10 students would be going to IITs from whole of Northeast. Today, the scenario is completely different. There will be 60, 70 students, minimum from CSRL itself, will be going to different IITs every year. But as we started working in Guwahati, we found something remarkable happen. We really saw potential transforming into excellence. In the first year itself, out of 30 students, we had 12 students going to IITs and 16 students going to NITs. The rest two went to Assam Engineering College. All the 30 students got into good engineering colleges. As for Northeast, since our inception in engineering, we have mentored about 1900 students till now in our centers from the Northeast. And out of them, 1600 students qualified in JEE mains, which actually enables you to get an admission into NITs. And it's a staggering 83.9%. I'll give you some statistics later on. Then you'll realize how favorably this statistics compares. Then out of these students, 1570 or 1600 students who qualified in JEE mains, they appeared for the JEE Advanced, and half of them, 800 students qualified in JEE Advanced. And out of this, 373 students went to IITs. They have gone to IITs. Over the last 10 years, we have sent 373 students to IITs and 700 students to different NITs. Now, this is something which was unthought of, unheard of. And among the states who have contributed very handsomely to this, Assam, of course, it's the bigger one because it has more number of centers also. Arunachal Pradesh so far has sent 79 students to IITs and 85 students to NITs and 101 students to other government districts. Every year we deal with 30 students, so this is over the last 10, 11, out of 330, so many students have gone. This, before CSIL Super 30 came, you can count the number of students going into IIT from Arunachal Pradesh on your fingertips. I am happy. There are about 17 students now from CSIL Super 30 who are studying in IIT Madras as of this moment. I've met many of them since yesterday, and if I have not met someone, I'll be very happy to meet you before I leave. Let me also give you a bit of flavor of how these students from the Northeast compare with the students from the rest of the country, with some statistics for the year 23-24. for the last year, about 14 lakh students actually appeared in the JEE all over the country. Out of that, 35,000 students were from the Northeast and 190 students were from CSRL. That is included in the 35,000 students. In mains, the qualification percentage was 17.7 at national level. At Northeast level, 22.8. And for CSRL, it was 85%. It is not a comparison between Northeast and CSRL. I'm trying to show you the comparison between all India and Northeast, the potential of the students in the Northeast. As far as advanced qualification is concerned, 3.4% is the national average, 3.7% is the Northeast average, and 49.7% is the CSRL average of Northeast. As far as admissions to IIT is concerned, 1.3% national average, 1.7% Northeast average. 600 students last year from Northeast went to NITs. And 15.2% is the CSRL average. That is 30 students last year from Northeast went to IITs. NIT, 1.7% national, 8.6% Northeast, and 47.6% CSRL. What I'm trying to say is this: it is not CSRL which is doing good job. It is primarily the potential of the students in the Northeast. Many of the students from the Northeast, without the benefit of any coaching, have done wonders. So we don't lag behind in anything. It is perhaps what we need to focus in is on being focused on what we need to do or what we want to do. But numbers alone do not tell the whole story. Behind every percentage is a student who once hesitated to dream, a parent who feared the burden of education, and a community that has never seen an IITian or an NITian emerge from their midst. Our work over the last 10-15 years is not just about statistics, it is about transforming lives, rewriting aspirations, and providing that talent and proving that talent exists everywhere. Opportunity just needs to find this talent. CSRL alone may not be sufficient to bring about mass-scale transformation, but we have definitely made a beginning and created an impact. We have been extremely fortunate that we have been supported by a large number of industrial houses under their CSR programs. Companies like Oil India, companies like ONGCL, GAIL India, Petronet LNG, HPCL. The latest entrant to our fold is a center in Chennai, Manali, which is sponsored by CPCL. Yesterday when we were talking, Tar asked me, "What next, sir? What would you like to do?" Well, we have decided to spread our net further. Going from only people who have completed class 12 examinations, we are now actually spreading it and trying to pick up students who are in class 11 and 12. These are large-scale projects requiring huge resources, huge infrastructure, and individual companies and all cannot support this at a state level or at a region level. This requires not only financial support, it requires infrastructural support, it requires logistical supports, and it also requires a lot of political management. The only source which can meet all these requirements are the state governments. They have the resources, financial. They have a lot of infrastructure which are not being gainfully utilized, can be utilized very well by others. And logistics is very easy for them to get over or provide. We are fortunate that Assam government has started 2 projects with us. One at Tezpur for 500 students, which started last year, that is 23-24. And the second project at Jorhat for 200 students, which started in this session, 24-25. For students of class 11 and 12, what do we plan to do with them? We plan to give them proper concepts in their basic science subjects, physics, chemistry, mathematics, prepare them for their board examinations, at the same time coach them to compete successfully in the examinations for NEET, for JEE. These projects are going well, and I must confess that state government has really provided us with ample support to take this forward. We have planned to work with other governments. We are trying to make approaches to see if this could also be taken to some other state, like Arunachal, like Nagaland, like Mizoram, like Manipur, like Tripura, like Meghalaya. However, we have not made any breakthrough yet. Yesterday, I met a young student from a place called Michuka. That's in Arunachal Pradesh, 30 kilometers away from the Chinese border. It's a new district. I think it was a part of West Siang before, and then now I think it has been converted into a new district now. Michuka is the district headquarters. It was really sad to hear. I know the population is less, about perhaps 5,000 to 6,000 people in that district town. But what I was told is that there is no secondary school or higher secondary school which provides science education yet. I mean, up to class 10 you have. 11 and 12, it's only humanities. We also understand it is very easy to comment from outside. There must be genuine difficulties because the population is less, a school may not sustain. But these are the areas where we need to look into and work together, how we can also provide opportunities to the students in those areas, those small towns. It is not their fault that they were born there. Having been born and having become a part of us, it will be our responsibility to see that we provide them the right opportunities to really grow and prosper. The question at this moment is not who should act, but how can you get together and act together? And that can help us achieve growth which is inclusive and sustainable. To sum up, Northeast just does not need development for its people. It needs development with its people. As the time is right to strive for a future where every child has access to quality education, regardless of geography or background. This is not a vision, it's a responsibility. And this responsibility is not of any individual. It's a collective responsibility. Each of us need to be responsible enough to give it back to the society from where we have taken certain things. I want to leave you all with one thought. The Northeast future is not something that will arrive one day. It is something that we must build today. Let this summit be more than just a conversation. Let this group of people be more than just listeners. Let it be the catalyst for action. Let it be the moment where ideas turn into commitments and commitments turn into real change. The challenges before us are great, but so are our collective strength and collective will to overcome these challenges. Together, let us drive progress, shape the future, and ensure that no talent, no dream, and no individual in the Northeast is left behind. Before I end, I'd really like to thank SADINER for organizing this platform, for bringing you all together to think collectively, not today, not tomorrow, but in the days to come, how you all can put in your little bit. Every little bit counts and contribute towards the development of your beloved region, which has remained underdeveloped, no doubt about it. And we all can change it if we collectively start working. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Next, I would like to invite Sir Wapang Toshi, the President of Northeast Welfare Association, Chennai, to speak on the theme of this event. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Toshi. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Respected guests of honor, Enki Parali. Respected our esteemed keynote speaker, Dr. Krishna Yam. Respected Hania, President of SADINER, and his team. I also like to extend my warm greetings to Mr. Aloy. He was the first president and founding member of this SADINER. I also remember him because on that very day, we were together. He was 10 years younger than today. And here we are today again. So, Aloy, good to see you again. And my dear delegates from different institutions and also from different discipline. Friends, I'm so thankful to the leadership team of SADINER for bringing us together and then to reason together under the Northeast Development Summit. It is indeed a marvelous thing to have done for the entire Northeast community as well as for the people, those who are interested in the development of Northeast region. And I also like to extend my great appreciation and gratitude to our Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, Sri R.N. Ravi, for coming and addressing to us and providing us such a great insight about the Northeast. Because he is someone who understands the heartbeat of the Northeast people. And he is also playing a significant role in bringing the Northeast region closer to this beautiful land, Tamil Nadu. So we are so thankful to him. And we are extremely thankful to the IIT Madras director and his colleagues for allowing us such a wonderful environment and also such a wonderful platform to make this summit happen. We're extremely thankful to all these wonderful people. The reason why I'm sharing all this because we all represent the Northeast region in this part of the country. So we should know how to live with others, we should know how to collaborate and cooperate with others. So we should continue to live together with different people, and we should always try to learn from others. Today, since we will be listening to the keynote speaker after a while, and we have learned a lot from different STEAM speakers, so I will try to situate my short speech in my experiences in Chennai in this capacity. And I want to focus only in 3 areas where we are experiencing so many things in this beautiful and very productive state called Tamil Nadu. Friends, Tamil Nadu has been a favorite educational destination for the people from Northeast India for many, many years. One important reason for this is the incredible level of acceptance that Northeast students experience from the local community on campus, which encourages their academic pursuits. Today, led by IIT Madras, students from Northeast have been given more space on campus to enhance their knowledge. Last year, I received a wonderful news from this campus, from the Northeast students. They won the first prize in an institute-level ethnic display competition. It was a historical achievement for the Northeast community here. And this achievement was made possible because the institution provided a platform for Northeast students to showcase their talents. We are extremely thankful to the IIT Madras for this kind of initiatives. There are several other prominent educational institutions in Chennai in particular, such as Madras Christian College, Loyola College, that provides similar opportunities for students from Northeast India. Today, I'm very happy to share that a Center for the Study of Northeast India at the University of Madras, a proposal I presented to the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu on behalf of the Northeast India Welfare Association Chennai, requesting his approval and recommendation, which has been accepted by His Excellency. And I'm also happy to tell you the University of Madras authority have positively embraced and accepted this initiative. I hope this Center of Study for the Northeast region will come to light in due time. We're extremely thankful to all the people who supported us to make this happen. We're looking forward for the tremendous support even from the people and from the government of Tamil Nadu. We wish to witness such a center even in this kind of premier institution like IIT Madras. Today I feel a sense of possibility when I was listening to the speech given by the IIT Madras director. So it is something which is possible in the days to come if we all work together. So I really want to encourage the Northeast community members, especially in this campus, to follow up the speech given by the IIT Madras director this morning, so that one day we can have a center for the study of Northeast, even in the IIT Madras campus. Let me come to the second point. Tamil Nadu is one of the most industrialized states in the country, offering great opportunities for people from the Northeast to come and work for their livelihoods in various sectors. Currently, people from the Northeast are also playing an important role in the economic growth of Tamil Nadu. To enhance this relationship, the Tamil Nadu government has included representatives from the Northeast community in the Interstate Migrant Workers Advisory Committee, which is a landmark step. Today, Northeast people are also part of the economic growth of Tamil Nadu. And because of this reason, we are so fortunate that the Tamil Nadu government has acknowledged our contribution, and they have included the Northeast representative in their advisory committee for the interstate migrant workers. Friends, I want to come to the last point. Northeast people in various metro cities in India experience discrimination and racism in alarming ways for many years, especially after the beginning of India's economic liberalization, which led to a high rate of migration from the Northeast region to different cities in India. Despite these difficult situations, the city of Chennai remains a safe haven for the Northeast people, where our community has experienced very little discrimination and racism over the years. For more than 10 years, we, the Northeast India Welfare Association Chennai, have been working closely with the government of Tamil Nadu, especially with the Tamil Nadu police, particularly for the safety and security of the Northeast community, which has been an incredible journey. We are safe and we feel very comfortable in this city because of our partnership with the Tamil Nadu police and also with the government of Tamil Nadu. So let us continue to maintain this wonderful relationship. We hope and pray that with the enormous resources and expertise, Tamil Nadu will continue to help by steering Northeast India towards progress and prosperity. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom. We look forward for more engagement in the future. Thank you. As we are nearing to the end of the event, I would like to invite Dr. Krishna Malakar, who would talk on the climate change-induced risk mapping of the Indian Himalayan districts using the latest IPCC framework. Let's join in welcoming Dr. Malakar.
I am Dr. Krishna Malakar. I am an assistant professor here at IIT Madras in the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences. So why am I here? So I am basically from Assam. I have been born and brought up in Guwahati. I joined this institute in 2021 November. I am very thankful to the organizers of this event from SADINER for inviting me to give a talk regarding my work here at IIT Madras. Thank you. So, my parent department is Department of Humanities and Social Sciences. I'm an assistant professor there, but I am also associated with many other centers and schools at IIT Madras. I'm associated with the Center for Atmospheric Sciences. It is a IOE Institute of it is a center established under the Institute of Eminence, and we have faculty from multiple departments coming together that work on climate change science and policy. I am also a part of the School of Sustainability. Again, it's an interdisciplinary school. We have faculty coming in from multiple departments, and we are working on several of the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. So my PhD is from IIT Bombay, from the interdisciplinary program in climate studies, and my thesis has some aspect of ecological economics. That's how I landed up here in the Humanities and Social Sciences department. We have an economics domain in the department here. A bit more about me. My research interest is about understanding the human dimensions of climate or environmental change. And specifically, I work on understanding vulnerability, risk to climate change, understanding the drivers of adaptation decisions of communities, understanding the barriers and challenges associated with adopting technology in communities, etc. And finally, understanding livelihood and sustainability issues in communities. So today I will be presenting a work that we have already published with one of my students on understanding the risk to climate change in the entire Himalayan region of India. As you know, the Himalayas can be divided into two geographic regions, the Western Himalayas and the Eastern Himalayas, and most of the Eastern Himalayan region belongs to Northeast India. Okay, so why I'm talking about climate risk? Because the risk experienced due to climate change is not only about the number of extreme events, climatic events or environmental disasters that are happening in the region. It is also a function of the socio-economic capability or characteristic of the region as well. If a region is poorly educated, has poor infrastructure, it also those factors also contribute to the risk. So anyway, the Indian Himalayan region is vulnerable to multiple climatic hazards. Okay. So such as droughts, floods, hailstorms, thunderstorms, and other non-climatic events as well, such as earthquakes. So indices are very important to measure and identify which districts are the most at risk and which would be requiring policy interventions. You may have already heard about indices such as the Human Development Index. Why they are important? This enables us, academicians, policymakers, etc., to identify the regions which are in need of interventions. Similarly, when we are experiencing climate risk, and in the future probably we will have more and more districts becoming more vulnerable, these kind of indices help us in identifying the districts which are most at risk and for which policy interventions are needed. So the IPCC, that is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which is the leading organization in giving directives regarding what needs to be done to combat climate change, has given a framework that needs to be adopted to measure this risk. This is a conceptual framework given by the IPCC, and it defines risk to be a function of hazard, vulnerability, and exposure. These three factors. This was given in their 5th assessment report a couple of years back. This is the latest framework that needs to be adopted all across the world to measure risk. So finally, through this study, we want to develop, identify the indicators which are representative of the risk in the Himalayan region and come up with a number which can be easily understood by policymakers, by bureaucrats with multiple different backgrounds to identify the regions which are at most of policy interventions. So this is our study region. I will be focusing more on the results obtained from the East Himalayan region, which is our northeast region. So many of these plain regions of Assam is actually not a part of the Himalayan region, but most of the districts of the other 7 northeastern states, including Sikkim, are part of the Himalayan region. So this is the methodology framework. I won't go into this many details. So we have identified some of the indicators under these 3 components of risk, that is hazard, vulnerability, and exposure. Then we adopted a methodology to combine these indicators. We have used a method called TOPSIS. Again, I'll not go into the detail of that. This is not an academic conference. But finally, we identify the indicators related to hazard, exposure, and vulnerability. We get numbers identifying which enables us to identify the district most experiencing hazard, the district most going to be vulnerable and exposed to climate change. After we get these three numbers, we multiply them to get the final composite index known as risk index. Okay. So this is the hazard component, the first component. Under the hazard component, we have indicators such as the number of flood events that we have experienced in the last few decades in all the different districts lying in the eastern Himalayan region or most of the districts of northeast India. Okay, so we have indicators such as the number of earthquakes, number of floods, number of hailstorm events, number of extreme precipitation events, etc. So these are some of the example indicators under the hazard component. Similarly, we have indicators under the vulnerability component. So vulnerability component has indicators mostly related to the socio-economic, describing the socio-economic characteristic of the districts. Okay, most of this data has been taken from our census of 2011. So we have percentage of houses which are in dilapidated conditions. Okay, some percentage of elderly people, percentage of people who are children below 6 years, percentage of people, percentage of households which are female headed, percentage of households which have poor roof, percentage of people households which have poor walls. All this data is from standard government sources such as the Census of India, etc., and other economic surveys of all these different states. So these are again some of the indicators of the vulnerability component. Finally, we have the exposure component, which so exposure is defined by IPCC as the presence of built-up area or population in a region. So more the built-up area, if it is highly, if a district is highly populated, has a lot of built-up area, that is buildings, etc., they are more prone to risk, right? More the population in an area, more is the risk factor. There will be more number of deaths, for example. The percentage of agricultural land in that district, etc. So you take up these indicators, combine them using this method called TOPSIS, okay, and finally, whatever three numbers that you will be getting, you will multiply them and will get something known as the risk number, the risk index. And this is, we have tried to map the numbers that we have got on this Indian map. Okay, so brighter the color, more is the hazard in these regions. You may already know the Western Himalayan region is more prone to hazard actually than the Eastern region. They are more prone to floods, for example, more prone to flash floods, more prone to events related to hailstorms, etc. Okay, but we will focus more on the Eastern Himalayan region right now. So most prone to hazard is actually Shimla, which is a part of the Western Himalayan region, and the least is a district called Kipure in Nagaland. Now, if we look into the list of districts only lying in the East Himalayan region, we can say that East Sikkim, located in Sikkim, is the most hazard-prone region in the Eastern Himalayan region. And the least one, again, is Kipure in Nagaland. Okay, so this is the ranking of the districts located in Northeast India, most hazard-prone to the least hazard-prone. So after you get this number, you can actually look into the exact indicators because of which these regions are most hazard-prone or least hazard-prone. So after you identify the specific indicator, the required policy interventions can be designed. Okay. We have the vulnerability index. We get numbers related to the vulnerability index. So the most vulnerable district lies in Northeast India, that is Dhalai in Tripura, and the least vulnerable district is Srinagar. You may remember that when we calculate vulnerability, we mostly talk about socio-economic indicators. So you may already know that districts in Northeast region comparatively are poor in socio-economic characteristics compared to districts lying in the Western Himalayan region. So that is why most of the vulnerable districts lies in Northeast India. We have more number of households which are probably dilapidated. People having poor infrastructure. Most of these regions are located in the East Himalayan region, that is Northeast India. That is why most of the districts lying in Northeast India are more vulnerable to these hazards. So this is again the list of the districts lying in India, from most vulnerable to the least vulnerable. The most vulnerable is Dhalai in Tripura, least again is Arunachal Pradesh, the district called Parampura. I hope I am pronouncing the names of the districts correctly. Please forgive me if I am mispronouncing anything. Then finally, the exposure index. Imphal West, Manipur is the most exposed district in the Indian Himalayan region. And the least one is Longleng in Nagaland. Again, this is the list of districts in Northeast India from the most exposed to the least exposed. Next, going to the final risk index, Darjeeling is the most risk-prone district in the Indian Himalayan region. So when we compare, multiply all these three components, we get something known as the risk index. So if we combine all these three indicators, these three sub-dimensions of risk, we identify Darjeeling located in Northeast India as the most risk-prone in the Indian Himalayan region, and the risk-prone is again Longleng in Nagaland. This is the ranking of the districts lying in any region from the most risk-prone to the least risk-prone. So why this risk index is important? Like I have already mentioned, they enable bureaucrats and policymakers to identify the districts which are most in need of policy interventions. You may know, because of international pressures, our country has developed something known as the National Action Plan on Climate Change. And under NAPCC, each state is again, have been asked again to come up with their state action plan for climate change. So under these action plans, the government has already talked and initiated many missions, such as the National Solar Mission. There are 8 missions. And under these 8 missions, this kind of academic research is also important to identify policy needs for the different states and different districts. So I'm trying to rush through so that we can finish the event on time and everybody of us can join for lunch. So this is an overview of the work that we have been doing. And if anybody of you are interested, you can actually click on this link. You can take a photograph probably. This work is already published in a journal with my PhD student Ayush Shah. And in the future, I am interested to conduct more such research in Northeast India, although I am based here. I have a student named Usha. She is from Assam, and we are planning to work on developing a similar risk specifically for the districts of Assam to identify risk to agriculture because of maybe climate change. And further, we are also trying to work on understanding how farmers are adapting to the changes associated with climate. Because of climate change, the productivity may drop, or regions which are now agriculturally viable may not be viable or become more viable because of climate change. So I would like to end here. Thank you all for your patience. Thank you. Let us.
Due to the constraint of time, ma'am, should we get any questions, or are you interested in answering any questions? Maybe we can take any few, maybe 1 to 2 questions. Anybody interested in questions on the presentation?
Now, on a lighter note, how does this translate for a real estate agent in terms of which is the district he should invest in to make more money right now, so that it is the cheapest or the secret land that is there, which all the people here can invest in before they actually start earning more money?
So I didn't design this research from that perspective, but if you want to make money or you would like to invest in a piece of land which are risk least prone, right? So probably invest in an area which is probably risk least prone, but it may happen that there is not proper infrastructure in the area which is least risk prone. So after you look into the table, you identify the districts which make sense from all the three dimensions of risk. We'll also have to think about whether the region is more vulnerable, more exposed, and then you can have a discussion and come up with a balanced view of probably which makes more sense, investment in which area makes the most sense. And I would like to say that since I didn't design this index on understanding or identifying the areas which may enable you to make more money, there will be some other factors also which I may not have considered here.
So thanks for the talk. My question is somewhat connected to what you asked. Firstly, if we start looking at regions or land as whether it is attractive for investors or not, won't there be other extraneous factors which would emerge? For example, the Karbi Anglong hills, the Barail ranges, right? And also the North Kachar hills, for example, the recent flash floods and the landslides that you've seen are a direct result of the kind of constructions which have been done despite environmental safeguards being flouted, right? So what do you think are the implications of such indices? Because ultimately, although it's an academic exercise, it will fall in the hands of some economic interest groups, right? So will it lead to other factors which might lead to further risk from different dimensions?
True. So as I have mentioned earlier, just in my earlier response, there will be some other factors definitely which I may not have considered in this. So as a first step, you can identify the districts which makes more sense to you, and after that you need to look into some other factors which would be beneficial, which will make sense and contribute to your decision regarding the investment. There will definitely, I'll not go into the detail and say random things right now, exactly what other factors may be considered, but as you know, there are other socio-economic characteristics, availability of human resources, manpower, etc., which some of these factors will need to be taken into your consideration while you identify the districts that will make more sense in terms of your investment.
Thank you, ma'am, for answering the questions. So for the last, we have the word of thanks by Mr. Tarhania, the president of the SADINER, to conclude the event. Thank you.
Distinguished guests, esteemed speakers, respected academicians, industry leaders, representatives from NGOs, students, and my dear friends. As we come to the conclusion of the Northeast Development Summit 2025, it is my privilege and honor to extend a word of thanks on behalf of SADINER, the Student Association for the Development of India's Northeast region, and the entire organizing committee. The first and the foremost, our deepest gratitude to His Excellency, the Governor of Tamil Nadu, and our beloved Director for inaugurating this summit with their esteemed presence. We extend our sincere appreciation to the Tourism Department of Arunachal Pradesh and the Education Department of Arunachal Pradesh for their generous support in making this event into reality. Your encouragement and contribution will play a vital role in fostering discussions on sustainable development, education, and economic opportunities in the region. A special thanks to our eminent speakers here, Mr. N.K. Barali, Mr. Wapang Thosi sir, and Dr. Krishna Malakam ma'am on their speeches here on the stage. And you have all enriched us in all, you enriched us all in many ways with your great knowledge and expertise. To our partners, sponsors, and collaborators, we are deeply grateful for your unwavering support. Your commitment to the development of the region is truly commendable, and we look forward to continue collaborations in the future. A hearty thanks to the students, youth leaders, and volunteers who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes, ensuring that the smooth execution of this summit happens. Your dedication and your hard work have been instrumental in making this event a great success. To the media and the press, we appreciate your efforts in amplifying our message and taking the event to a wider audience. We thank ICSR for making this hall available and all the staffs for their silent work behind the scenes, which greatly ensured the success of this event. Last but not the least, a sincere thank you to all our attendees and participants for your presence here. Thank you all once again. I end my speech with my heartfelt thanks to all of the participants here, and it was our committee's dream to conduct this event, and I am very happy now giving the word of thanks at the end of the event. Thank you very much.
I would like to invite all the participants, our esteemed guests. We have prepared lunch for everyone. A photo session? Sure. Every with the participants? Now, please join us on the stage for a photo session. Anyone who, traditional attires, anybody. Yeah, please, all the students from the audience, the participants, please come to the stage to join for the photo session with our guest.
Thank you.